name is Alex, and they call me the Phantom Whisperer. But the truth is, I don't look around for ghosts. My job as a paranormal investigative journalist takes me to places where the real world meets the unexplained. This time, my investigation brought me to Oak Ridge, a town that's really good at keeping secrets. People say there's some serious darkness here, connected to a guy they call Dead Man Franklin. Now, Franklin isn't the town's favorite person. He's the odd one, living in a crumbling Victorian mansion on the town's outskirts. The place looks pretty grim, with paint peeling off like it's trying to escape the darkness of the town, and the windows staring out like they've witnessed too much death and distractions. Yet, it wasn't the foul nature of Franklin's words that propelled my investigation. It was the ominous whispers, the chilling tales of one inexplicable influence, something sinister, something insidious. The narrative suggests how, once decent individuals driven to perform unspeakable acts. The deeds that are inconceivable to any rational soul. And all this unspeakable cruelty, unimaginable violence, triggered by a mere touch, a fleeting encounter with the darkness that lurked within his infamous chair. This chair isn't anything fancy, just old wood and a worn-out cushion, but it's got a reputation. People call it the Whisperer, claiming it's a direct line to some dark place. It's like a messed up amplifier cranking up the weird thoughts in your head. Some even say it has its own mind and moves on its own in the dark, like it's dancing with demons. The truth about this chair, hidden beneath the gossip, hits me like a scary drumbeat. Franklin's story holds whispers of pure evil, a tale of desires so messed up they give you chills. It's a story begging to be unfolded, a tale so wrapped in darkness that even the light is hesitant to come out. So, armed with my notebook and a heart full of anxiety, I head into the evening in Oak Ridge. It's time to face the looming shadows in Franklin's place. The night covered Oak Ridge in a soft darkness as I knocked on Dead Man Franklin's old Victorian door. The door groaned and opened, revealing Clark, a ghostly figure in shadows. "Mr. Thompson." "Is that really you?" he said, his voice sounding haunted. "I've read all your works. I'm a fan." "Come in," he urged, his manner giving off an eerie seriousness. "You're here, so you're probably investigating Dead Man Franklin's story." "I'm Franklin's grandson," he muttered mysteriously, motioning for me to enter with a gesture full of hidden secrets. Wanting answers, I asked if I could speak with Franklin. "Can I?" I asked, feeling both hopeful and nervous. Clark's gaze held an unspoken truth. "No," he replied, the word hanging in the air like a chilling verdict. "But I can help with anything you want to know." My blood ran cold. I had heard unsettling stories about Franklin's descent into darkness. "Why not?" I asked, my voice strong despite my uneasy gut. Clark, a keeper of secrets, hesitated before giving a response hidden in the shadows of Franklin's mysterious life. He swallowed, his gaze shifting nervously to the dark hallway. "The chair," he choked out, the word carrying a bitter condemnation laced with venom. "It took him. Swallowed his soul whole." In the dimly lit room, Clark described a once heroic soldier, a loving father, and a gentle grandfather, all lost to the cursed chair. The chair's arrival wasn't accidental. A mysterious peddler, drawn to Franklin's goodness, spun tales of the chair's regal past. Franklin, hesitant at first, got hooked on morbid curiosity, spiraling into obsession. The chair's floral print shimmered with spectral flames, casting a spell under the moon's glow. The initial whispers transformed into chilling pronouncements, mirroring the malevolent patterns on the chair's back. Soon after, stray cats began to appear mutilated, and a neighbor's dog went missing, each death echoing the hunger eating at Franklin's troubled soul. Rain beat against the crumbling mansion, each drop echoing the tremor in Clark's voice. He talked about a different kind of tempest, one that wrecked his world the night his father, Franklin's own son, fell into a silence that'd last forever. It was a cursed night, Clark rasped, his voice heavy with sorrow. Franklin, consumed by the chair's evil, became a vessel of darkness turning on his own flesh and blood. He killed his son, who was merely attempting to shield him from the self-inflicted harm. He stabbed my father, not once, not twice, but again and again, till his devilish thrusts quenched. Clark spoke, sorrow and bitterness tangled in his words. Tears welled up in his eyes as the haunting memory continued to claw at his tormented soul. Motivated by a strong desire for knowledge, Clark dug into the past and found out that the chair made out of human bones once belonged to King Ebonheart. It wasn't just an ordinary bunch of bones, it was carefully made through a dark ritual beneath the eerie light of a blood moon. Whispers from a long time ago hinted that these bones weren't lifeless leftovers, but pathways for the tormented souls of the fallen. The chair, soaked with the essence of unfortunate souls, filled the throne with a creepy hunger lurking in the shadows, ready to consume anyone brave enough to get close. As the scary story unfolded, it showed a dark picture of King Ebonheart's fall into paranoia and an unquenchable thirst for power. Whispers talked about dark sacrifices, where his closest advisors were offered up one by one in a weird ceremony. Each advisor's soul got mixed into the chair, making it scarier. Those poor souls turned into forever prisoners, and their pain made a creepy feeling around the chair. The chair, now like a container of darkness, carried the weight of its nasty beginning, filled with the pain of those offered up to satisfy Ebonheart's never-ending thirst for power. As Clark told this messed up part of the chair's story, it was clear how connected the cursed chair was to the bad ruler. The chair, its bone marrow soaked with the essence of tortured souls, seemed unfillable, casting a growing shadow over the lives it touched. Franklin, unknowingly caught in its grip, became a sad pawn in the legacy of King Ebonheart's evil pursuit of power. The haunted echoes of the throne's dark past echoed through the crumbling mansion, where the rain outside seemed to mirror the tears of the tormented souls forever tied to the cursed object. The seller, more than just a regular merchant, turned out to be a descendant of Ebonheart's court sorcerer. He had a serious promise to keep, making sure to protect the evil chair and continue its legacy of horror. Seeing that Franklin was often alone and really wanted power, he thought Franklin was the perfect person to take on the cursed throne. Clark, motivated by a love that was changed to sorrow, did something extreme. He tied Franklin to the same chair that had become a threat to him. It was a desperate move, a final attempt to cut the harmful connection and save the town from the shadows that were taking over his grandfather. I really cared about him, Clark admitted. But the chair, it took away his brightness, leaving only a dark and empty version of himself. Tying him up was the only way to stop the whispers and prevent more innocent people from being harmed. As the night got darker, I found myself taking shelter in Franklin's eerie house. By morning, we realized we had to catch the peddler to get rid of the evil chair. Chasing the sneaky peddler became a dangerous game, a tricky race against time. We followed confusing bits of secret messages, figured out hidden maps with spooky symbols, and explored the forgotten parts of Oak Ridge. Each step brought us closer to the fading trail left by the peddler's shadow. At the same time, Dr. Blackwood, Clark's distant brother, came out of self-exile. He was worried for his brother. Also, feeling that his town needs his medical knowledge, he decided to come back to his hometown. He tried to offer a different view by looking into the chair's harmful effects on the mind and body. However, his unusual methods clashed with Clark's traditional beliefs, causing tension between the brothers. In the midst of Oak Ridge's growing unease, our pursuit unfolded like a mysterious wild goose chase. Each step we took made our mission more challenging. The town turned into a stage, surrounded by shadows, and chasing the peddler became a risky show with the cursed chair at its evil center. During all these chaotic events, our hunt for the mysterious peddler led west to Eleanor, an unexpected source of hope. Eleanor, an experienced librarian, was determined to uncover the secrets behind the town's ongoing murders and misfortunes. Her quest took her into the vaults and historical archives. Eleanor, exploring the hidden secrets in the archive, revealed a scary legend. In the maze-like sewers beneath the streets, she found the Crypt of Souls. This secret chamber, according to whispers, was where Ebenhard trapped the tortured souls of his victims in the cursed chair, using their pain to power its evil. The four of us gathered, planning to get rid of the sinister chair. We knew we had to confront its source of power and break the connection. However, the dark forces seemed to have other plans for us. The next morning brought a shocking revelation. The chair was empty, its chains strangely unbound. Chaos spread through the town like a venomous snake, and the disturbing disappearance of Sarah, the same girl who had once teased Franklin by saying "mad grandfather," added a horrifying layer to the story. Fearful whispers painted a grim picture, pointing towards an old, abandoned church, once Franklin's safe place, now a twisted altar of darkness. The town, gripped by a sense of impending doom, waited to see what malevolent forces had been set in motion by the mysteriously empty chair. Wrapped in an ominous chill, Dr. Blackwood and Clark hurried toward the ominous church, while I went into the town's winding sewers, aiming to uncover the source of the chair's dark power. Inside the church, a nightmarish scene awaited them. Sarah, bound and silent, showed the terror of her situation in her innocent eyes. Franklin, a mere shell consumed by encroaching darkness, stood threateningly over her. A jagged knife gleamed in his hollow gaze, signaling that this wasn't the desperate act of a tormented man, but rather a cruel ritual. The fight that followed was intense, with hard-hitting punches and desperate pleas. Dr. Blackwood, despite being hurt, fought fiercely like a cornered animal. Clark, caught up in a mix of grief and determination, struggled with Franklin, every move driven by a strong desire to protect Sarah. The air in the ruined church crackled with the clash of opposing forces, darkness against determination, and the painful cries of a girl trapped in malevolence. While this chaos unfolded, I ventured through the wet and shadowy sewers, determined to cut off the chair's power source. The sounds of struggle and sacrifice echoed through the town, and with each step in the sewers, I got closer to the heart of the dark forces gripping Oak Ridge. In the crypt's center, I found a circular chamber with disturbing paintings of torture and sacrifice. A raised platform in the middle held a bone, gold and white, emitting the lingering darkness of the chair. Examining the bone, the chamber's eerie red glow intensified, and a ghostly figure appeared. It was Ebenhard. Skeletal and draped in tattered robes, Mad King Ebenhard's eyes were burning with unholy fire. "Fool," he shouted, his voice sounding like it came from the grave, "you can't destroy something that's part of the darkness itself." But my goal wasn't to destroy. My goal was to help the town and the Blackwood family. I took out a simple object from my pocket. A smooth, silver locket that once belonged to one of the Ebenhard's victims. The victim was a monk. In the last dying breath, he channeled all his divine willpower into this artifact and created a key in the form of this locket to break the shackles of Ebonheart's curse. It was Eleanor who found out this artifact from an old scripture that belonged to Ebonheart's era. It was preserved in the local museum in perfect condition. She somehow managed to get it from the museum and gave it to me, her voice heavy with optimism, hoping I could probably break the curse and the town would be finally free. Seeing me unfazed by his threat, Ebonheart looked at me with doubt and asked, "Is it a charm?" But I know what I need to do, so without wasting any time in conversation, I pressed the locket against the platform's inscription as suggested by Eleanor. As I was pressing the locket against the platform, the chamber started to fall apart. Stalactites fell and dust filled the air, but my attention stayed on Ebonheart. In a final desperate move, I poured all my strength and Oakridge's hope into the locket. With a blinding flash, all the powers of the Mad King got sucked into the concrete platform. It seems that Ebonheart is finally weakened. He turned into a wisp of smoke and disappeared into the darkness. Exhausted and crumpled on the floor, I saw the sunrise come through the opening in the crypt, casting a soft, golden light. The writing on the wall disappeared, and the room got quiet. Standing on wobbly legs, I stumbled out, holding the locket tight in my hand. The sounds of the crypt's struggles faded, replaced by the promise of a new day for Oakridge. At least that is what we thought. In the church, the family clash intensified as the grandfather faced his grandsons in a night-long battle to save Sarah. The conflict peaked when Clerk, torn between grief and determination, delivered the final blow in an act of mercy wrapped in necessity. Franklin, defeated and empty, fell into an eerie silence, the darkness within him gone. Sarah, shaken but unharmed, clung to them, a fragile light in the damaged church. They took Sarah home, a delicate butterfly caught in the storm of their nightmare. A heavy and bittersweet relief also settled over me. Grandpa was gone, his soul taken by the shadows he couldn't fight. When they returned, Clerk and his brother became the town's heroes, while I, as usual, stayed in the shadows as a silent witness to the grim events. Clerk, thinking the curse was broken, decided to get rid of the chair for good. But disturbing reports emerged as people said it reappeared on the sidewalk outside Franklin's house, waiting for its next owner, its next victim. So, for anyone out there, if you ever wander the sidewalks of Oakridge, be cautious. Beware of old, out-of-place chairs. Do not, I repeat, do not touch it, do not sit on it, or dare to bring it home with you, for they could bear the curse of King Ebonheart, ready to enchant the unsuspecting into a malevolent dance of shadows. If you like this story, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more tales from the crypt. Until next time, may the shadows be ever in your favor.